Hello, my friends. Today I want to talk about something most people avoid, something we often keep quiet about, until it becomes too real to ignore. Have you ever thought about moving into a nursing home? Maybe not for yourself. Maybe for someone you care about. At first, it sounds like a smart idea, a safe place, a place with round-the-clock care, a place where everything is taken care of. But here's the part nobody tells you. What happens after you move in? What do you lose quietly, slowly, without even noticing? If you're thinking about making that decision, or if someone you love is already facing it, then I hope you'll stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't easy, but it's honest, and it might save you from making a decision you'll regret. For more than 30 years, I've worked with older adults and their families. I've seen the good side of aging and the hard side. I've seen people thrive with support, and I've seen people fade after being placed in the wrong environment. I've also lived through it myself. That's why I'm sharing this with you, because before you move into a nursing home, there are things you need to know, not just about the walls or the food or the rules, but about what it really means to your body, your mind, and your spirit. Today, I'll walk you through 6 difficult truths I learned after moving into a nursing home. Each one changed me. Some I expected. Most, I didn't. This video might not be comfortable, but it might be just what you need to hear. Let's begin. When I first decided to move into the nursing home, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I thought it would be a smooth transition. After all, I was getting older. The idea of having someone there to care for me seemed comforting. But what I didn't realize was how much this decision would change my life. Moving into a nursing home wasn't just about changing where I lived. It was about giving up things that were deeply important to me. The first thing I noticed was how everything was controlled by someone else. I could no longer choose when to wake up or when to eat. The staff had a schedule. Breakfast was served at 7 a.m., lunch at noon, and dinner at 5 p.m. Even if I wasn't hungry, I had to eat. I didn't choose my meals. I didn't choose what time to go to bed. I was told when to sleep, when to wake up. This wasn't my life anymore. The small decisions I used to make every day were now out of my hands. It was a strange feeling. I had spent my whole life being independent. Now, I had to ask for permission to do the simplest things. If I wanted to go outside for a walk, I had to wait for someone to assist me. If I needed something, I had to press a button and wait for help. Even something as simple as choosing what clothes to wear was no longer my decision. I wore what was available, what the staff gave me. I found myself thinking, is this what my life will be like now? It wasn't easy to adjust. I thought I was prepared for this change, but I wasn't. I didn't expect that losing control over my daily life would affect me as much as it did. I realized that once you move into a nursing home, getting out isn't as simple as you think. The longer you stay, the more it becomes your reality. The more you get used to it, the harder it becomes to imagine life outside. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make life yours? Because once those freedoms are gone, they are hard to get back. And it's not just about meals or bedtimes. It's about losing control over the little things that gave your life meaning. One of the hardest truths I faced after moving into the nursing home was the overwhelming feeling of being forgotten. In the beginning, I was reassured by my family. They promised they would visit often. In the first few weeks, they did. My daughter came every weekend and my grandchildren visited during the holidays. For a while, it felt like I still had a connection to my old life. But as the days and months went by, things started to change. The visits became less frequent. My daughter couldn't come as often because of her busy schedule. My grandchildren, who once filled the room with laughter, had their own lives to focus on. Their visits grew fewer and farther between. Soon I noticed that phone calls were replaced by texts. The conversations, once filled with stories and laughter, now felt more like a formality. People would call and say, "How are you doing?" But it was clear they didn't have the time to truly listen. It wasn't that my family didn't care. Life simply got in the way. When you're not around every day, it's easy for people to assume you're okay. They think you're adjusting well. They think you don't need as much attention. But the truth is, the longer you're in a nursing home, the easier it becomes for people to forget just how much you still need them. I remember one evening, sitting alone in my room. The silence around me felt suffocating. I held my phone in my hands, wondering if I should call my son. But I hesitated. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to remind him that I was waiting for a visit that might never come. So I put the phone down, and that's when it hit me. This was my life now. I wasn't the only one feeling this way. There were other residents who sat in the common areas, looking out the windows, waiting for anyone to visit. We all silently hoped for a connection that didn't come. The loneliness was not just physical, it was emotional too. The longer I stayed, the more I realized how isolated I had become from the world outside. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself this. Are you prepared for the loneliness that might come with it? Because once you're out of sight, it's easy to become out of mind. Even if your family loves you, it becomes harder for them to remember how much you still need them. The distance, both physical and emotional, grows with time. When I first moved into the nursing home, I didn't just lose my physical independence. I also lost my sense of purpose. At home, I had my routines. Every day I woke up and knew exactly what I needed to do. I watered the plants, made my coffee, tidied up the house, and checked on things around the place. These small tasks, these little responsibilities, gave me a reason to get up every morning. They gave me a sense of accomplishment. But in the nursing home, all of that changed. Meals were prepared for me. Cleaning was done by someone else. Even the plants were no longer mine to care for. I wasn't responsible for anything anymore. And at first I told myself that it was nice. I thought, no more chores, no more cleaning, just rest. But after a few weeks, I started to feel like something was missing. The days felt long. They stretched on without anything meaningful to do. And I began to notice that it wasn't just me. I saw it happening to other residents too. People who had once been full of energy now spent their days sitting. They just stared at the walls or watched time pass. I met George. He was 84 years old and he had been a carpenter all his life. He used to fix things around the house, build small projects in his garage. But here there were no tools, no projects. There was nothing for him to create anymore. His hands, once so skilled, were now idle in his lap. He told me one day, "I feel useless." And I knew exactly what he meant. When you don't have something to care for, something to work toward, you start to lose your sense of self. The mind slows down and the body follows. Without a purpose, life begins to feel like it's just passing by. At first, I tried to tell myself that it was okay. I told myself, I've worked hard all my life. Now it's time to rest. But after a while, I realized that rest didn't feel as fulfilling as I thought it would. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? What are the things that make you feel alive, that make you feel like you matter? Because once you move into a nursing home, finding purpose isn't as simple as filling your time with activities. It's about fighting to hold on to the things that make you feel like yourself. And once you lose that, it's hard to get it back. Before I moved into the nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I could still walk around, cook my meals, and take care of myself. I had my routines that kept me active. I stretched every morning. I went grocery shopping. I kept my body moving with little daily tasks, but once I moved in, everything changed. At first, it seemed like a break. Meals were brought to me. I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to worry about cleaning. If I needed anything, I just pressed a button and waited for help. I thought it would be nice. But what I didn't realize was that by relying on others, I was becoming weaker. I stopped moving as much. I sat more than I used to. Soon, I noticed that my legs were feeling stiffer. The muscles I had worked so hard to maintain were disappearing. Before long, I found myself struggling to get up from a chair. What used to be an easy task now felt like a chore. And it wasn't just me. I saw it happening to others too. People who had walked on their own for years were now using wheelchairs. People who had once been independent were now asking for help with things they never needed help with before. The more help we were given, the more we seemed to need. It's strange how it happens. You stop moving and your body just starts to lose strength. I remember Alice. She was 81 when she moved into the nursing home. At first, she used to take walks around the facility every day. She was very independent and refused to slow down just because of her age. But after a few months, I noticed she wasn't walking as much. Then she started using a walker. Eventually, she had to use a wheelchair. One day, she said to me, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." And that's exactly how it felt. Once you stop moving, it becomes harder to start again. In the nursing home, where everything is set up to make life easier, it's easy to forget that movement is about more than convenience. It's about survival. If I had known how quickly I would lose my strength, I would have fought harder to stay active. I would have pushed myself to keep moving, even when I didn't feel like it. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself this: will you still have the motivation to keep your body strong, even when everything is set up to make life effortless? Because once you slow down, it's much harder to get back up. One of the things I didn't fully consider before moving into the nursing home was how much privacy I would lose. At home, I had my own space. I could close my bedroom door whenever I needed time alone. I could sit quietly in my favorite chair, read a book, or just relax in peace. I had control over my environment. But in the nursing home, privacy is a luxury you don't always get to keep. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was constantly being watched. The staff came in and out of my room regularly. There were scheduled room checks, and I was never truly alone. Even in the common areas, there were always people around. I couldn't just sit in silence whenever I wanted. There was always someone talking, always someone asking if I needed help. It wasn't that they didn't care. It was just the way things were. But it felt like I lost control over my own space. Even something as simple as getting dressed or using the bathroom was no longer private. I remember one day I needed to use the restroom. I pressed the call button but had to wait longer than I wanted. It was uncomfortable. I had to wait for someone to come and assist me, even for the most basic of needs. And then there was the issue of roommates. Not everyone gets a private room. I was fortunate to have a kind roommate, but not everyone is so lucky. Some people end up with roommates who are loud, unclean, or even have cognitive issues that make it difficult to sleep. No matter how hard I tried to make my room feel like home, it was never truly mine. I couldn't personalize it the way I had at home. My space felt sterile. The bed wasn't mine, the chair wasn't mine, and even the walls felt cold and impersonal. Dignity is a hard thing to lose. When you've spent your whole life doing things on your own, asking for help feels strange. It feels like you're losing a piece of yourself. When people knock but don't always wait for an answer before coming in, when you're spoken to like a patient instead of a person, when your daily routine is dictated by a schedule you didn't create, it changes you. You begin to feel less like yourself and more like just another name on a list. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared to give up the privacy and control you've had your whole life? Because once they're gone, they're hard to get back, and losing your dignity is not something that can be easily undone. When I first moved into the nursing home, I thought leaving would be simple. If I didn't like it, I could always go back home. It seemed like a decision I could easily reverse. But what I didn't realize was how hard it would be to get out once I was in. At first, I thought it would be easy. If I didn't like it, I would just pack my bags and go back home. But when I tried to bring it up, my family wasn't as enthusiastic about it. My house was sitting empty. Maintaining it from a distance wasn't easy. My children had already started making changes. They sold things they thought I wouldn't need. They even considered renting out the place. When I brought up the idea of returning, they hesitated. "Are you sure you can manage on your own?" they asked. "Wouldn't it be safer to stay here? We just want what's best for you." I didn't realize it at the time, but those words made me question myself. The longer I stayed, the harder it became to imagine living independently again. I wasn't as strong as I used to be. The physical toll of living in the nursing home started to show. I couldn't do the things I once did. I felt weaker, less capable. The idea of going back to my house, of living alone again, started to feel frightening. I wasn't sure I could manage on my own anymore. And that fear, that uncertainty, kept me stuck in the nursing home. I met others who had the same experience. They thought they'd try the nursing home for a little while, only to realize that leaving wasn't as simple as they thought. The longer they stayed, the harder it became to go back to their old lives. Some residents lost the option entirely. Once their homes were sold or their savings drained by the cost of care, they had nowhere to go. Leaving wasn't just about packing up. It wasn't about making a decision in a moment of clarity. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to imagine life outside. If you're considering moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the possibility that leaving might not be as easy as you think? Once you settle in, whether by choice or circumstance, the barriers to leaving, whether financial, physical, or emotional, can be harder to overcome than you expect. And once you become accustomed to the routines, the thought of going back to a life of independence may seem more daunting than you ever imagined. Looking back, I don't regret growing older. I've lived a full life, and I'm grateful for every year I've had. But I do regret believing that a nursing home was my only option. I regret thinking that giving up my home would automatically bring comfort and peace. I walked into the nursing home with hope. I expected security, care, and a sense of ease. But what I found was something else. I found a place where I slowly lost the freedom to choose. A place where my routines were replaced by schedules. Where silence was rare, privacy was limited, and dignity was quietly surrendered. Does this mean that all nursing homes are bad? No, I don't believe that. Some truly offer the care that certain people need. There are situations where moving in is the right decision. But what I want you to know is this. Don't assume it's the best option just because it looks easier. Easier isn't always better. And once you go in, it's not always easy to go back. If I could do it all over again, I would have asked more questions. I would have pushed harder to stay in my own home. I would have explored every possible way to get help without giving up my independence, because the truth is, there are other options. There are ways to stay safe and supported while still living in the place you love. Home care, part-time assistance, community support. These paths might take more effort to set up, but they can help you hold on to the things that truly matter. Your freedom, your routines, your dignity, your voice. If you're at the point where this decision is in front of you or someone you love is considering it, please take your time. Don't rush. Don't let fear or pressure make the decision for you. Ask yourself, what do I really want in this stage of my life? What am I willing to give up? And what am I not willing to lose? Because the life you have now, the small habits, the quiet joys, the choices you still make, they are worth protecting. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. Thank you for listening. I hope something I shared today has helped you see things more clearly, or at least helped you ask the right questions. If this message meant something to you, I invite you to share your thoughts below. Tell me, what stood out the most to you? What part of this story connected with your experience? Your voice matters here. And hearing from you gives others the courage to reflect, to speak, and to choose their path with greater clarity. If you found this helpful, please like this video, subscribe for more conversations that matter, and share this with someone who might be facing the same decision right now. We're in this together. Aging is a journey we all walk, and the more honestly we talk about it, the better prepared we all become. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next video.